Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you all so much. I don't know where I gotta do a call out to my Metro Detroit DSA chapter. Where are you? That's my family. They believed in me when nobody had ever heard my name. I want to thank you all so much. I am coming from the most beautiful, blackest city in the country, the city of Detroit. I bring you greetings, Democratic Socialists of America. Comrades, we know that this is the moment for our movement. It always feels like it, but this is the moment. We know that we're at a center in fighting fascism, and we are the people that are going to be successful in pushing back against those that, again, remain silent. Before I begin, I want to ground myself in my roots, not only as the daughter of Palestinian immigrant parents, but as a girl that was raised in the most beautiful, blackest city, in Southwest Detroit neighborhood where you found 20 different beautiful ethnicities, where movements are birthed. It's where each neighborhood has its history rooted in a movement that grew from the streets, not City Hall. Movements that grew from the ground up, not legislative branches full of sellouts in corporate boardrooms. Detroit, my siblings, has seen firsthand the pain and the hurt of policies rooted in racism and capitalistic schemes that keep our families in survivor mode. If there is any city that can take down fascism, it's my birth city. Detroit versus everybody is not a cool phrase. It's the truth of our struggle, especially our black neighbors who have done it unapologetically. This is a city that taught me that institutions like Congress weren't built for people like us. Community mothers like Lila Cabell, who worked with Rosa Parks, Grace Lee Boggs, they taught me as a young organizer, and they taught me, they understood that transformative change in our country always comes from us, not the White House and not the United States Congress. Both of these institutions didn't care about the right to organize unions or passing the Civil Rights Act or the Voting Rights Act until people pushed them from the outside in. We all know how terrifying this current political climate is. We have watched in horror for years as both Democrats and Republicans have ignored working class to carry out wars to help the 1% and the billionaires, and now a genocide of the Palestinian people. This is a room that understands, and we know this. They would rather send bombs and money to a rogue, violent apartheid state than fund free health care here at home. Both party establishments should forever be condemned by their immoral participation in one of the history's worst crimes at every expense of the American people. You know what my colleagues don't understand, and they don't want to acknowledge that all across the country, every corner of our nation, people who do not share my faith nor my ethnicity are demanding an end to the funding of the genocide, to the war crimes, to forced starvation. The majority is with us. I watched them in caucus bring in poll after poll. Not one of them poll people on whether or not they want to stop the funding of the genocide. There are too many warmongers in Congress. Many of them profit from the defense contractors by owning stocks in war manufacturing companies. So when I watch them press the button the yes button for the bloated nearly $1 trillion defense budget. They benefit personally. But when I see them do that, I know it's years farther away from Flint getting clean drinking water and all across the country, that it takes us farther away from actually fixing and having universal health care, because right now we have sick care. It takes us further and away from understanding the working people should be at the forefront of what our government funds for them to be able to thrive, not just survive. Every Palestinian who was killed with US weapons was killed because members, including Presidents Biden and Trump, believe Palestinians don't deserve to live. They think and believe in those racist tropes that have made Palestinians disposable in their eyes. But DSA, we have always been rooted in a growing anti-war movement in our country, one that is centered on dismantling capitalistic systems that benefit from death, extraction, oppression, and pain. From Detroit to Gaza, DSA knows that when we say free Palestine, we are also saying water is a human right, healthcare for all, fuck wars, end mass incarceration, abolish ICE, housing for all, and so much more. Continue to say we are the richest country in the world, yet we continue to watch people go bankrupt because they got sick. The violence against our people doesn't have to come in a form of a gun or a bomb. The system and structures around us kill our people, our neighbors. It's the same effect. That's something that DSA continues to show them over and over again. Our government is scared of the strength of our movement, and they're increasingly desperate. Y'all, I watch them. Desperate. Repression shows how weak they really are in the face of our people. We must continue to demand complete arms embargo of all weapons to the Israeli government. You all know this. And I say this honestly with love. I don't care what you call it or label it. A weapon is a weapon. Either you want to end the funding of the genocide or you don't. You can't sponsor the Bombs Act, yet you vote for more funding to the same country that is committing the genocide. You cannot sign letters expressing concerns over the forced starvation while enabling the same Israeli government to commit the war crimes using access to food as a weapon of war. You can't boycott Netanyahu's speech, yet you meet with him later and even spread the racist rhetoric and lies of the government that continues to be rooted in anti-Palestinian racism and Islamophobia. If I'm not clear, let me make it more clear for Congress. Weapons are weapons. Genocide is genocide, no matter how much people avoid the word. I mean, listen carefully. The elected leaders of Israel are using the language of genocide and ethnic cleansing. Listen to them. It's past time that my colleagues stop making excuses, trying to strategize, and think that somehow there's a strategy around genocide. I just simply asked them, when they asked me what they should do, I said, poll your district like you poll them on every issue. The majority of them will say, stop the funding of the genocide. War criminal Netanyahu has announced plans to forcibly expel the entire population and permanently take over Gaza. This is the final stage of the genocide. Colleagues will tweet about it, express concern, but won't use the power of their vote to stop sending the money and the funds. But there will be a reckoning. There will be a reckoning for these monstrous crimes. And the excuses of war criminals and those genocidal funders and cheerleaders will not save them from the justice that they will see in their communities. I always get emotional on the floor because if you've ever heard my speeches, I sometimes say this. I wonder if they imagined that they weren't Palestinian, would they finally I wonder if they didn't imagine that they were Palestinian. Just close your eyes, I tell them on the floor. Imagine they were Palestinian. Would you finally see them worthy of life? The dehumanization started way before I came to Congress, way before. They continue to spread unbelievably untruths about the Palestinian people, somehow making them less mothers, less children, less human. Some know the truth, but they are cowards who stand up, again, will not stand up for their districts. You know, I read a quote from a journalist, Omar, and you all have probably seen this, but it's an important quote because I know exactly what he means because I feel like it is going to happen. He said, quote, "One day when it's safe, when there's no personal downside to calling it a thing, downside to calling a thing what it is, when it's too late to hold anyone accountable, everyone will have always been against it." But we all know, DSA, that Palestine and countless places around the world, before and after, have been testing ground for the disgusting alliance of American politicians and capitalists to innovate new ways to starve us, to torture and kill people who demand their rights. And those tests are now echoing back across our country every single day. Masked ICE thugs are terrorizing our beloved neighbors. Trump and his ghouls are systematically dismantling our government to make us sicker and poorer while billionaires get richer. And the racists and bigots feel more empowered than ever to spew their cowardly hatred and violently lash out. At the same time, we're seeing unprecedented resistance organically taking to the streets to protect our communities. Residents come up to me and say, "This is the first time I've ever done a protest." I'm so inspired by the countless videos I see of ordinary people putting themselves on the line to protect each other. ICE Watch, mutual aid organizations are springing up all across the country. Workers, our beautiful workers, are unionizing and winning. I know because I've been in Detroit all my life, and Detroit has been on the front line of workers withholding their labor and forming unions so they could actually live. And today they strive victoriously for higher wages and no tears in the United States or in Mexico. There is a revolution energy in the air. It's the first time I've ever felt an alliance of people that are anti-war, but they're also anti-billionaire class pushing back and saying, tax the fucking rich. It's our duty, DSA, to cultivate this power, people power, into a force that can fight fascism and win. A united front is needed in order to beat back savagery. I need you to do that. When you caucus, when you come together, understand this is our duty, this is our responsibility, this is our moment. You don't need to tell me that the Democratic Party establishment has completely failed to present meaningful resistance to this billionaire class, to Trump and fascism. Their donors are the same in the end of the day. They serve the same interests, capital and empire. This is the first time, again, they've seen the lowest favorability since 1994. We already know why, but they're actually clueless as to why. But that's why DSA is so important. We're able to honestly, truly, authentically diagnose the problems facing working class Americans and fight for real change that addresses those problems at the root. The working masses, y'all, they're hungry for revolutionary change. And DSA can grow as a political force when it focuses on organizing the people that the corporate Democrats and Republicans have abandoned for dead. Meanwhile, I've already seen this. At so-called institutes of higher education, students are harassed and punished by scared neoliberals using Trump-like tactics for protesting mass cleansing of a whole people. In my own backyard, the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Targeting, intimidating, bullying dissent on campus. But these students have got the president of the university, the regent members, and even the attorney general for Michigan so scared that the University of Michigan is willing to sacrifice its long, prestigious, and honorable name to cover their eyes to genocide. You know, people attack me all the time, oh, you're a social, democratic socialist, and I smile at them, and I said, you know, I'm a daughter of the UAW. You know, Michael Moore, the filmmaker, once asked me, you know, you're the eldest of 14, you're one of 14, how do you got straight teeth? And I smiled and I said, the UAW. And, you know, when my dad fought with his union for dental care, you know, people don't realize that moment of how incredibly beautiful that moment to get all his kids, line them up at the local dentist office, which ended up expanding, and my dad says that was us. But people don't understand. When I get asked that in the media, I said, I don't care, attack me, because I won't allow my neighbor to go hungry. Go ahead and call me the names you want, but I would not allow my neighbor to go without water. You see, we have to show people, not talk about it in resolutions or bylaws, and I say this lovingly at Big Sis. I know, I'm saying it lovingly, please. Trust is built by human connection and lived experiences as much as it is by knocking doors in communities. For DSA to live up to our potential, we have to be willing to grow ourselves. We need more members from more diverse communities in leadership roles, y'all. We are failing. And again, I'm telling you as a big sis, we are failing when a room like this only has a handful of our black neighbors. We need to be intentional. A lot of working class folks have strong historical ties to the Democratic Party. They know they have been let down. They're looking for a new home. They want to envision the alternatives, and we have it. We have to get better at talking to people in an approachable way about the democratic socialism can mean to their lives. If they're looking for a war on poverty, this is their home right here with DSA. We have to make the change we want to see, again, aligned with people, everyday people, that are losing hope. Part of how we're already doing that is the very grassroots level. Just this week, DSA member Denzel McCampbell won his Detroit City Council primary election. He didn't take a dime from corporations. He didn't sell out. He knows at the root of the issues and challenges in the community he's going to represent, inshallah, is watching DTE, the monopoly, this big utility company in our community. He watches them buy politicians, buying off silence in Lansing. His lived experiences is what drives him. And I believe, again, it shares our values, is those lived experiences be highlighted and shown that he, as a member of DSA, is fighting against the monopoly, against the raised rates, against, again, the dehumanization it feels like when they cut your electricity because you're too poor to, again, pay for the high increased rates. This is what I'm talking about when we, again, connect with people. I know that every person in here could win a local election to help someone that they know get into office. A few hundred votes can change the trajectory of our communities. I won. I don't know if y'all know this. I know Detroit DSA knows this. But I won by only 900 votes in 2018. I didn't shy away in being proud DSA member. I didn't shy away in saying I'm not going to bow down to corporations. I was unapologetic. And we knocked 55,000 doors, and it was difficult. There was establishment Democrats in there. But we did it with love. We did it because we were going to connect with people in the human way. We were going to share our lived experiences, teaching people, again, for me, being a daughter of Palestinian immigrants, my dad only 4th grade education, my mother only 8th grade education. And I want to be able to represent the community that helped raise me with my parents. Those are the human connections and the stories and the lived experiences that need to be part of our movement. And again, we have to speak the language of people. And again, get away from just these messages and everything. The Democratic Party already does it, and they do a terrible job. And so I just want us, again, laugh all you want, but every field organizer that works on my team leaves as a social worker. And they love it. We're helping people get through everyday challenges. But you don't have to be a DSA member to have been inspired by the primary win of Zahran Mamdani. I swear, every time I say his name, it makes my heart so full. And if that's not for you, every person, again, here can talk to their friends, their family, neighbors about politics. I always say work your backyard, and I'm not talking about physical backyard, the people around you, your network, again, that crew of people that trust you. Because we know that we can talk about class, about race, about gender, sexuality, and yes, tearing down the very system that will fund bombs abroad while we still don't have clean drinking water in Flint or all across the country. But we can do that, DSA, much better than any political party establishment. The rich and the powerful want us defeated, disencouraged, and tired. And I sometimes feel that way. But we must have faith in the power of the people to overpower billionaires and fascists who think they run our country. They don't get it. The power is in the neighborhoods, not Washington, D.C. So we are standing at a crossroad in American history. We are going to take this country back for our working families and defeat these pathetic, cowardly, hateful fascists. We're going to win because we don't have any other option. And yes, we are going to free Palestine. They don't have any other choice. Our movement isn't going anywhere, and we're just getting started. Thank you all so much. Salams.